My adventure today brings us to Thomas County in southwest Georgia. I am driving on Pine Tree Boulevard. It is the oldest perimeter road in the United States. It was established in the late 1800s. There's even this short stretch of the original dirt path of Pine Tree Boulevard that still exists. It surrounds the city of Thomasville, which is called the City of Roses. Thomasville was established in 1826. It is believed that Thomas County and the city of Thomasville were both named after Major General Jet Thomas, who was an officer in the War of 1812 and who participated in the early construction of the University of Georgia. During the late 1800s, Thomasville was known as the winter resort of the South. There were two grand hotels, the Mitchell House and the Piney Woods Hotel. The Mitchell House is still standing along Broad Street. It was built in 1886. The Piney Woods Hotel once stood in this area between Broad and Dawson Street. It was built in the 1880s and was destroyed by fire in the early 1900s. I also want to mention the Imperial Hotel, which is located along West Jackson Street. Built in 1949, the Imperial Hotel provided a comfortable place for African American travelers prior to integration. As you can see, the building still stands, but it closed its doors to tourists in 1969. Many famous people visited Thomasville in the past. Jacqueline Kennedy in 1964 was a guest at the nearby Greenwood Plantation shortly after her husband, President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated. She attended Mass in what was once a Catholic church, but is now All Saints Episcopal Church. Built in 1881, this is the oldest church building in Thomasville. Another popular Thomasville area plantation is shown here. Pebble Hill is available for tours and features this unique roadside attraction. It is called Noah's Ark, and it is an oddity of the plantation. Located inside are depictions of the animals that were on the ark. Along with Noah himself. President Dwight Eisenhower visited Thomasville often in the late 1950s and played golf at one of America's oldest golf courses, Glen Arvin Country Club, which is located here in Thomasville. Some visitors would even decide to make this historic city their winter home. This was the Bailey's winter home, who owned Bailey's Ice Cream in Boston. It is currently Allen and Allen Funeral Home. This was the Burbanks from Wisconsin Winter Cottage. And this was Colonel J.W. Paxton of West Virginia Winter Home. You will have to take the time to explore the historical downtown. There are excellent varieties of restaurants, beautifully landscaped areas, and unique shopping experiences. Including Hardin's Taxidermy, which showcases many wild animal displays. And speaking of unique, Thomasville has the oldest restaurant still operating in the state of Georgia, The Plaza, which was established in 1916. Some of Thomasville's other attractions include the Rose Garden and Cherokee Lake, the Big Oak Tree, the whimsical Lapham Patterson House, and one of the oldest 10-pin freestanding, privately owned one-lane bowling alleys in the United States. We will try our luck at knocking down the 10 pins a little later in my video. I am Danny, and welcome to my channel, Danovator, where my experiences become your adventure. Remember to please subscribe and please hit that bell so you'll be notified when I release my next video. Well, let's go explore this unique museum. This brick home, which is located at 725 North Dawson Street, was built in 1923 for Joseph Hampton Flowers. It was built over the foundation of the 1893 Ewart three-story mansion that had previously burnt down. In 1942, Fritz and Mildred Roberts purchased this home. And in the late 1960s, it was sold to the Thomas County Historical Society for use as a museum. The lobby is where I purchased my admission ticket for $10. It is also where you can purchase souvenirs to remember your experience. In the orientation room, you can watch a short video on the history of Thomasville. This is a painting of Mildred Pitcock Roberts Cross. Her and her husband, Fritz, were the last family to live in this house. They were the owners of Sunnyland Food and Packaging Company, which was once the largest meat processing plant in the Southeast. They both are buried here at Laurel Hill Cemetery in Thomasville. Adjacent to the orientation room is the Macintyre Room. The Macintyres were one of the earliest and most well-respected families in Thomasville. This painting of Archibald Thompson Macintyre Sr. was once displayed in the old Thomasville High School. The land where the school was built was donated by the Macintyres, and this adjacent park is named in their honor. On May 22, 1880, north of here, a popular doctor from Thomasville tried to cross the flooded area of this creek during a violent thunderstorm. His horse and carriage was swept away, and he drowned. This is a painting of that doctor, Robert J. Bruce. Located also in the research room is this painting of Hazel Cutler. Raised in Thomasville, she was a famous Broadway dancer from the 1920s. This is a charcoal sketch of her being caught trying on outfits of legendary actor Rudolph Valentino, titled The Bad Girl. Buried at the Laurel Hill Cemetery is the grave sites of Dr. Robert J. Bruce and Hazel Cutler. Another famous grave you can visit in Thomasville is the gravesite of Henry Flipper. He was born a slave in Thomasville on March 21st, 1856. He would become the first African American to graduate from the U.S. Military Academy, West Point. He is buried at the Old Cemetery on North Broad Street. Let's explore the basement. And here's a look out the back courtyard. And in the basement is an old bomb shelter. The bomb shelter has beds, but I believe they're there to accommodate kids during camps they have at the museum. This room, located by the door leading down to the basement, is the fire hall. It contains some of the earlier detection and alarm systems used in Thomasville. What would happen if I pulled this down? In the Davis Gallery, there are some Native American artifacts that were found in this area's rich red clay soil. This 1855 French Empire barrel organ, once owned by a local family, played music from a rotating cylinder. Here's a collection of original oil-painted portraits of early settlers of Thomas County. Here's an 1890 souvenir piney wood hotel plate. Thomas County has a community named Boston. This Rose Theater light is from the 1940s. That was about the same time as Scott Wilson, who played Herschel Green in The Walking Dead, was born in Thomasville. I need to make sure I don't have any radiation from that bomb shelter. Oh! Seeing this record player, do you know that one of the original members of the Temptations is buried in Thomasville? Entered at the Magnolia Cemetery off of Cassidy Road is the final resting place of Elbridge Al Bryant. He was born in Thomasville on September 28, 1939. The group formed in 1960 and Bryant was replaced by David Ruffin in 1964. Elbridge died at the age of 36 on October 26, 1975. This table is made from remnants of what is claimed to be the largest pine ever to grow in Thomas County. The tree was located at the Myrtlewood Plantation. This is a photo taken by Muller's Studio of Thomasville. It's how Broad Street looked when the streets were dirt. There are significant photographs of the late 19th and early 20th centuries can be seen in permanent collections and art museums across the country. Their graves can be found at the Laurel Hill Cemetery in Thomasville. This is the gravesite of Algernon W. Muller, and this is the gravesite of his son Charles. They were the pioneer photographers of the South. Here's an outside look at that courtyard. As you walk up these stairs, you are greeted by this awesome looking fish fountain. Across from the fish fountain is the Roberts Garage. It was built in 1942, shortly after the Roberts family purchased this property. You can still see dog prints embedded in the concrete. In the garage, you can find 2 old Model Ts, a 1936 Ford Phaeton, and this 1916 American LaFrance fire engine, which is believed to be one of Thomasville's first motorized fire engines. Did you know that the 1958 Disneyland Fire Department Engine No. 1's design was based on the 1916 American LaFrance fire truck? Located in the History Center's back lot are structures that were relocated from different areas around Thomas County. This display is called the Smith Homestead. This house was moved here from a nearby farm near Coolidge, Georgia. The Smiths raised their 5 children in this amazing log home. This bed with its screening was a terrific idea. It would certainly protect you from those pesky Georgia mosquitoes. In the rear is the kitchen. Outside are examples of antique farming equipment. This log building that once stared across nearby U.S. Highway 84 was moved to the center around 1987. And, obviously, I had to ring this bell. Beside the Smith homestead is the Metcalfe Courthouse. This courthouse was built around 1892. I have no choice but to sentence y'all to watch all my videos. Andrew Berry was the Justice of the Peace at the Metcalfe Courthouse from 1901 to 1906. His final resting place is at the Friendship Cemetery in the community of Metcalfe. You can still find a few of Metcalfe's historical buildings lining the streets, but not this courthouse. Emily Joyner, who was a Civil War widow, purchased this house and lot in 1877. She had this house rolled to this lot on large logs. It used to be located where this shelter is. In 1895, the Ewart family purchased this home and lot from Emily. The home was probably then used as the servant quarters. When the property was purchased by the Flowers in 1909, their children's nanny, Matilda King Callaway, moved into this house. She lived here until the time the Roberts purchased this property. These are not grave headstones. They are markers that once were located on a stretch of road that connected Thomasville, Georgia to Tallahassee, Florida, known as the Dixie Highway. The Dixie Highway, which was built around 1915 to 1927, was the first major arterial roads that connected southern cities to the Northeast and Midwest. This is one of two playhouses that were built by Joseph Hampton Flowers for his granddaughters in 1910. It belonged to Clara Flowers Varnadoe. Her father, William Howard Flowers, and his brother, Joseph Hampton Jr., opened the Flowers Bakery Company in 1919. Their popular business continues its operation today. Behind the playhouse is this long, beautifully built building. It contains one of the oldest 10-pin, freestanding, privately owned, one-lane bowling alleys in the United States. 3 years after Oliver C. Ewart built his three-story mansion, he built this bowling alley in 1896. It was constructed out of heart pine. This is an 1890 courting couch. This antique high-wheel bike is awesome. You want to know what is also awesome about this bowling alley? It has air conditioning. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed today's video here at the Thomasville History Center. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. And always remember, your adventure awaits with the Denovator. See y'all the next time.